let's talk June favorites. We are now obviously start of July, and I want to show you guys some of the things that I gravitated a lot more towards during June. So some of them are clothes, some of them are shoes, some of them are more homeware-y kind of things, and some are accessories. We are going to start with clothes. I feel like I have a fairly staple wardrobe, but what I do have a lot of is like outerwear, so jackets, jumpers, coats, all of that. And there's 3 in particular that I kind of gravitated towards in June. The first one I think has been in my collection for the last 3 years or so. It's this really cute plaid, like, which goes down to the back of my calf. It is from Petite Studios New York. They are a Asian American brand, and everything they design is for people who are petite. So I think their target market is like 5'3" and under, which is where I slip in nicely. This is definitely on the longer side. This next piece I got in February, I believe, at the AJE warehouse sale. It's this gorgeous, I guess, knit type of jacket. It's got plenty of buttons up the front and then 2 front pockets. I've never actually used these pockets for anything, and this is a looser fit, so when it's on the chillier side I can still fit a jumper underneath this. Sticking to that like similar color scheme is the newest piece in my collection, well, one of the newer pieces. This is from AJE. This is a jumper. This is like where the sleeves are. So these sleeves are definitely on the larger side, but I think this is really, really cute. The only downside I've been finding to this jumper is it's really hard to carry a shoulder bag because the sleeves are so like big. It runs down the length of it, so it's a bit bulky with a shoulder bag of any sort or a tote bag. But if I'm going out in like my little Alma or my Jacquemus, there is nothing wrong with it. But this is also just so warm, and being on the looser fit side as well, I can again fit like a jumper underneath. She also is turtleneck, so it kind of just folds over around the half mark. So this is kind of what it looks like on my neck. Definitely cozy. I do know that they sold this as a top, but I will be honest, it's a little bit scratchy, so I probably wouldn't wear it as a top on its own. Next up, I'm gonna do shoes. There are 3 pairs of shoes. 2 are actually heels and 1 is a pair of flats. We are going to start with the flats first. These are my Loro Piana summer walks. I picked these up in Taiwan a couple of years ago, I believe, and I find myself gravitating towards them a little bit more. I think out of the 3 pairs of shoes, this one the most. I will say the only downside for me is weather. This is like a suede kind of material, so I'm always like double checking the weather before I wear these out. But that being said, it's got the rubber sole, so it's like if it sprinkles, no issue. It's more like if there's torrential rain. But these also go with pretty much everything. I think these are technically noir, so they're like a black caviar, I think is the color name. Honestly can't be sure, but because they're not like an obscene color, they match with a lot of my wardrobe, especially because my wardrobe is very much on the neutral side. I think these next pair went on a hiatus in my wardrobe probably for a good like 12 months, but these are my Jimmy Choo Carters. These are the Carter 85s, and even though they're a pointed like toe box, I actually seem to think these are fairly comfortable to walk in. The height is also a good height. Like, I'm not the biggest kitten heel person because I don't see a point to kitten heels. I actually think there's only 1 pair of kitten heels I own, and they're my Chanel slingbacks. But I'm so short. Like, if I'm going to wear heels, it's going to be for the height. So these have definitely been great. I will say, getting out of them, bit of tug of war because these don't have zippers or anything on them. They're just the slip in. They're very easy to get into, a little bit harder to get out of. And I feel like this is also so simple. It's got the really dainty like JC on the back. But other than that, it's just a plain black knee-high boot that looks very elegant as well. This last pair of shoes kind of surprised me because these are my wedding heels. So these are the Jimmy Choo Helloys. Don't even know how to say it. They are 120 millimeters, but girl math, it's 9 centimeters because the platform itself is 3 centimeters. This heel in its entirety is 12 centimeters, but I treat this like a 9 centimeter heel because that's where the arch is sitting. I think if it didn't have the platform, absolutely would not have bought these for my wedding, but I've actually been gravitating towards these because they're so comfortable, which I feel like people find it hard to believe. I did 14 hours in these shoes without a problem on my wedding day. As you can see, they're kind of dirty on the bottom, but I did 14 hours and I didn't really break these in. I did wear them, I think, 2 times before the wedding, but it's so soft because it's Napa leather. The front of it already comes almost like broken in. The only downside I will say is it seems to scuff really easily. I don't know if the camera can show you, but there's a lot of scuff marks, which I've kind of just been getting rid of with like a makeup wipe. I think it's worse on this side. So you can see I wore this to debutante, which I think was a couple, maybe a month and a half ago. But I mean, I personally don't mind, but if you are someone who's like, I don't want them to get dirty, I want them to look like white and pristine the whole time, then this might not be the material for you. But it's just something to kind of keep in mind. It does clean off, but I would consider this more of like a higher maintenance heel. I've got one that's a little out of left field. This is my current favorite mug, and it isn't even a mug. I think this is from Bath Body Works, and it was actually a candle. And I don't normally keep the candle containers because I get gifted so many candles, but there was something about this when I opened it. The box that it came in was like, oh, you can repurpose me, and there were like heaps of recommendations. One of them was like, oh, use me as like a flower pot or like a pencil holder, but I was like, this is actually like the cutest coffee mug. Like, she's adorable. So she's been my new obsession, and I will say I intentionally burnt this candle a lot faster than I would have burnt any candle, purely because I wanted a new cup. There is still an orchid in her, but I can't be bothered to tip the water out. This, from memory, I purchased in January. I definitely remember it was part of a shopping vlog that I had done, but this is from Maison Balzac. I absolutely love it. Can we also appreciate, I mean, I did chop off quite a few leaves, but this orchid is actually from my wedding, which I think was almost 3 months ago. I think we're sitting at like 8.5 weeks at this point. Because they were purchased on a Friday 2 days prior to my wedding, and I don't know how long it had been sitting at the flower market for, but the fact that there is still a good portion of her that is alive, immaculate. But this jar or vase has kind of turned into my go-to. That being said, I have a lot of vases. I've had quite a few friends who have like had flowers delivered to my house, and they come with vases, but I don't know, I feel like I don't like, not like this type of colored, but I don't really like solid colored vases because I feel like it always clashes with the flowers. I mean, this one obviously doesn't because it's a white flower, but I feel like when I get arrangements as presents, there's always like a color component, and I feel like it's hard to make it look nice when the vase is green, for example, and all the flowers are pink. Like, I know first world problems, but I always have flowers at home. I don't know why. It's just a me thing. Like, I love going out and just picking out flowers to have because I feel like it brightens up the space. But this vase for now is like the only vase I've been using for my florals. Finally, moving on to accessories. I've got 3 accessories that make my June favorites. Maybe one day I'll do a what's in my bag, but the first accessory is this bag. I did an unboxing for this bag, I can't remember when, but she is a pre-loved item off Farfetch and she is Burberry. Now, I've said this before, I love the old print for Burberry. I feel like they're moving back towards that direction, but there was a while that they were under new creative directive and I didn't really like their, like, I don't know if you've seen it, like the TB logo that they had for a while. Did not like it, but this bag I feel like is good. It feels a lot more secure than my Neverfull, purely because, I mean, there's so much stuff in here, can't be bothered to take it out, but because of the way it folds here, and there's a zippable like section in the middle, I feel like this is just a lot more secure. I also feel like the straps feel a lot sturdier than my Neverfull. And because, I mean, the most common things that I tend to walk around with at a bare minimum, sometimes my laptop, but I've got 2 notebooks that I walk around with, and I've got a calendar, and then obviously like wallet, house keys, little bits and pieces, like a drink bottle or something. So I feel like this bag is like sturdy enough and it holds a significant amount for the size, and it's like, it carries enough for what I need to bring wherever I'm going. I've technically had these forever, but when I was doing a clean out, I think start of May or end of April, I found these again, and these were my obsession for the longest time. I actually own quite a few pairs of sunglasses. My husband may argue that I own too many pairs, which is probably true, but I feel like I always gravitate towards my Gucci, which I got back in like 2019, so like have had her for a hot minute, but she's like a bulkier kind of, like, I feel like the best way to describe it is like paparazzi avoiding sunglasses. Does that make sense? But these ones are a little bit more dainty. These actually are also Burberry. I don't know if the shape fits my face the best, but I do like them. I think she's really cute, and it's just been the one that I've kind of just grabbed off the shelf when I am heading out. Finally, we have a scarf. Now, this is a scarf that I think after I initially bought her, I put her away for a little bit because of the material, but this is the Louis Vuitton Logo Mania in like a light grey, basically. I don't know if you can wear this reversible. I don't think so, because that does not look the best. But that being said, personal preference. I have learned, however, that this is very much a last on, first off accessory. Because it is made from wool, it does occasionally catch on to things. So this is very much like I'm about to walk out the door, I'll put it on, and then as soon as I come home it comes off. But it is, again, a very like neutral color, so I feel like she's easy to style with anything. You can wear her just like this, or we can do like slightly uneven and go this way. I also sometimes, it depends what I'm doing, but sometimes it's easier to do like this one where you like thread it through. The only downside is it looks very like knobby in the center. So generally I very rarely wear it like this. I think if more than anything I go down the front, because I feel like this is always a safe option. I tend to find that if I go this way, things might get caught, specifically when I'm wearing like hanging earrings. I generally wear studs, but sometimes I change them out. And I feel like if I've got dangly earrings, this is where it gets caught. So that sums up my June favorites. I'll see how much I get to like play dress up in July. But we may have a July favorites, we may have an August, we may not have one for a couple of months, but that wraps up my my June favorites. But I will try and find whatever links I can to things. That being said, it's probably going to be very few, but whatever links I can find, I will drop down below in the description for you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day wherever you are. Bye!